So this is gonna be a very different video from the rest of them. I'm basically going to talk about Natlan now that Natlan's Archon quest are finished and it's basically over for the Archon quest. There might be some other interlude quests that we had, like the one we had in 5.2 I believe it was. So that's something to look out for as well, but basically the Archon quest is over, which is why I'm making this video. This is basically gonna be a quick rundown. I had made a whole A4 page and basically a bit more about points I wanted to bring and all the different acts, Act 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I'm basically gonna scrap that because the video is just gonna be way too long. So in general, I'm just gonna talk about what I liked in right now about Natlan's Archon quest and bring in some tribal quests as well, because currently when I'm recording this, it's version 5.3. As you can see by my characters, Sitlali and Mavik are in my party. This is by the way not a real party. I use this to farm friendship EXP, so yeah, take that what you want. But either way, I really liked Act 1 and 2. I'm not going to go into in depth like I had the other recording sessions, but basically, I thought all the characters were good. I really liked the facial expressions they're introducing, or starting introducing more with the Kachina face, the Sitlali face, which is not Act 1, but either way, talking about facial expressions. I thought overall Act 1 and 2 as a whole was a very good way of introducing you into Natlan. Like, I thought all the characters played a good role. I thought the Kachina, Molani, Kenich trio thought just fits really well into kind of what you want from an introduction starter thingy. Almost like a Linny, Lynette, and Fremine kind of situation, but Natlan version instead of Fontaine version. So I thought that was just a very good way introducing you, a very gentle way of introducing you into all of Natlan, and you also get to go through Kachina's tribe, and then you go to Morlani's tribe, and I think Kenichi's tribe was also unlocked at that point. But I can't remember when we went there. That I cannot fully remember. But either way, I thought Act 1 and 2 was very good. We did get meet the other characters, like Ahau was obviously there as the fourth member of the trio, whatever you call it. And then obviously Capitano and Mavuika cutscene was very cool, and something that a lot of people looked forward to, because Capitano is just so cool. I mean, a lot of players do want Capitano. We also got to meet Chaska and Iansan briefly, specifically for the Night Warden Wars, where Kachina won obviously the tournament that we followed, and we cheered Kachina on, which was very cool, since she beat Molani, which was obviously a 5-star, so I thought that was really I'm gonna move on, otherwise I'm just gonna rumble way too much. I'm gonna be the yapping. I'm gonna commit the yapping. But either way, Act 3 and 4 I thought was really good as well. This is version 5.1. And this is really where Natlan really kicked off, I believe. Obviously, this is the quote-unquote war arc. We got to meet obviously Shilonen, Sitlali, Auroron. And honestly, I love Sitlali. I love her by all my might. She's someone that I think has so much personality, is so good as a character. Her facial expressions are very good. Her voice actor, I do play in English as well. That's something to remember. As some of the, obviously, I will talk about that later, but some of the characters were muted or didn't have voice acting, which I will talk about later on. But either way, I thought Sitlali was brilliant. She stole the show for me. Not only her voice acting, her facial expressions, but just she's probably the character I was looking forward to most. When you got to like the Ignition teaser for Natlan, I was like, oh, that character, I want that character. And I'm just so glad she lived up to my hype of the character. I thought Shilonen and Auroron were very good characters. Shilonen grew on me a lot after doing the tribal quest, so that's something to remember. But they're obviously, I don't want to say more laid back, but we obviously got Auroran introduced in a way that he was colluding with Fatui, and we know the Fatui as the big bad, so that was very interesting. I thought that was just a very interesting thing. Yeah, Shilona obviously grew on me, so yeah, that's something that I thought was just very cool in general. We got to meet the captain and talk to him actually in the Night Kingdom, where Auroran brought us there, which obviously I thought was a very cool thing. And just something in general that was like, whoa, that I really like this, because obviously I'm someone that semi cares about lore. I'm not a hardcore lore fan by any means, but he spilled a lot of lore and we got to know a lot of things. Then obviously we had the whole situation of basically the war arc, gathering the heroes, assembling the heroes, which was Auroran, Shilonen, Morlani, Kenich, Iansan, Chaska. Did I say Auroran? Yeah, either way. And Mavuika, obviously, that's the Pyro Archon, and us, which I thought was pretty cool. The war arc of traveling with the balloon, I'm gonna get into that, by the way. I do have that down as a point, as something I would like to see improved, but I thought the cutscenes were good, I thought the overall building of it was cool, and obviously I thought, and I say obviously, but I thought the fact that when you made the choices, it actually had implications. It wasn't like dead-end choices that no matter what you choose, it doesn't matter. The same thing will happen either way. I thought that was cool. The fact that if you choose this to land at this spot, it had this meaning. If you land here, it means this. Like, I just like the fact that there was actual choice to make. It wasn't like every outcome was the same, no matter what you picked. I like the fact that there was different outcomes. So personally, I really like that. I thought the cutscene of the heroes assembling and the voice lines playing with the music, and when Week shooting up in the air, like looking at the abyss thingy and then smashing it to pieces, was just super cool. Like, that cutscene in general was just super cool. I know they're two different cutscenes, but I thought that, like, arc, if you want to call it, was super well done, and what I expected from Natlan going into it, like the Nation of War. So that's kind of what I expected from Natlan. So I was just happy to see that it delivered on what I had hoped for it to deliver, and didn't really leave anything left on the table for me to be like, oh, I definitely wish they had done this instead though. So yeah, I'm just happy I got kind of what I wanted. As much as possible, at least. Sorry for my voice and my sniffing. I'm a bit sick, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, overall, Act 3 and 4 was very good. I really liked it. I did also like the fact that you could actually see, like, people dying and Saurians dying. Like, there was real life implications. So, like, I talked to you about, like, when you pick this choice, that means these people don't survive when you go back to the arena and actually see the cutscene, like, and all of a sudden they're not in the arena anymore. Like, I do like that. I like the fact that there is choice, like I said, which I don't think a lot of gacha games has. Like, normally when gacha games give you a choice of, do you want to say this or this or this, it's the same option. Like, they just mean the same thing in different ways. So I'm happy to see that there was actually choice to be made, which is basically why I liked it so much. So yeah, Act 3 and 4, I know I have missed stuff there, by the way, but like I said, this is going to be a quick brief down. Act 3 and 4 I thought was really good as well. I really enjoyed it, so yeah, very happy about that. Then we move on to Act 5, and basically, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had to remember what Act 5 was. I do have certain points, like, we also got meet Renova, or Ranova, the ruler of death, which was very cool. Obviously, the picture in the sky, or the eye in the sky, it's so cool. We got to know more about Mavuika, because that's not something I touch upon, but obviously at the end of every act, I think. I don't think it's every act, but I can't remember which acts there were, but we also got to see Mavuika's memories and go through what she has experienced and what she was like, which I thought was really cool, of building the Pyro Archon in a way. Not really something they usually do. They usually just give you the Pyro Archon, but I thought the flashbacks were good, but because they also gave you a lot of lore that you normally wouldn't be able to get otherwise. At least so in front of you, like in your face lore. So I thought I really enjoyed that. I thought some of the pacing obviously could be a lot better on the Archon quest, but I'm gonna move on to that later on. What I did also really like was the boss, but I'm gonna talk about the bad things about it later on, because Act 5 and what I am gonna talk about is basically gonna be Renova, Capitano, and then the primordial, the Lord of Eroded Primal Flames called Gossithoth. Gossithoth? I can't pronounce that name, but either way, I really like that boss. I thought the boss design is super cool. I thought the music overall. And by the way, this is like general points about Natlan. The music, like usual in Genshin, was spot on. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought the ending was really good. Of it just fits into Natlan of like the ending or with the cutscene of Marika driving us out till Paimon giving us the hug of what was really wholesome to I thought the parade thing was a bit drawn out, but then obviously after that we meet up with Zitlali and she takes us to Natlan, where Capitano is not at currently but being taken there. Marika is there and gonna experience her death. Basically, so I thought that whole segment was super good. I really enjoyed like the creepiness of Renova, the ruler of death. Like I just enjoyed it so much. I thought that was so cool. Her voice distortion thingy was really cool effect as well. And just again, kind of links in with the false sky thingy we saw when Mavrika smashed the abyss thingy. Like it's just such a cool thing that we can tell the longer the game goes on, the more we basically get to know about the truths of the world. Truths. Sorry, my pronunciation there was a bit wrong. But yeah, I thought the ending was a good ending. Obviously, Capitano's cutscene was and learning more about his heart, if you know, you know, and the souls he carries was just a very good thing and helped his character, or helped him, I guess, in a way, establish him as truly like the character where you go, oh, I really want that guy. Also, he's technically immortal, so technically there is still a chance of us being able to get him. Obviously, inhaling some copium, but you never know for a Conria or a Shneshnaya. Like, you never know. Maybe it could happen. Probably very unlikely, but it could happen. Obviously, could. So I thought that was very good. In general points, like I said, the music, the facial expressions, I thought the overall story was good. Now, we're just gonna talk about some things that I really didn't enjoy as much. Which was basically the lack of VAs. There's a couple of things I want to bring up, but the lack of VAs was one. Which I know you could swap a language to talk about something else, or not talk about, oh my god, what am I saying? To listen to them in Japanese, Korean, Chinese, whatever you want to in that. But I really like playing in English. I think, especially March, oh my god, March Sitlali's VA, Skylar is so good to the point where, like, I wanna play in English. And it does just suck, the fact that we don't have the voice acting. I've had the numerous moments throughout this whole, every Archon quest, it kind of deteriorated, like, it took away from the overall experience of just playing the Archon quest. Like, the immersion was in a way broken by that, and like, I'm not someone that usually cares about that stuff too much, but it was to the point where it was so off-putting in a way, the point where I just wish they had it. I do just wish they had it. Like, I know they have a strike and all that, but it was just so sad to see in a way. I know they can't, Genshin can't help it. I know they can't, but it was just sad to see, honestly. Like, I really wanted it because I think that would elevate the experience of Natlan just way more. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I think that would elevate it way more. So yeah, that basically what I wanted to say about the lack of voices. There was another thing when this is gonna be a very specific point, but about the pacing. But the balloon arc, where you're in the war arc, Act 3 and I think it's Act 4 actually, where you travel through this balloon, you choose different locations, but then there's the big trip where you basically go. I can't remember from where, but basically through the Science Canopy until you meet. I can't remember who it is. Toto. The underground, but that trip is so long. It's just so long, like it takes too long. The pacing of that is not great. Remove, like, I get that they want to create like an atmosphere and a vibe of seeing the death all over and how big the abyss is to create that atmosphere, but it really didn't do that for me. For me, all it really did was like, oh my god, when am I gonna arrive here, dude? I just couldn't help but feel like this was just a kind of waste of time. Like, if they made the balloon just twice as fast, I think I would have solved it. I genuinely think if they just made the balloon twice as fast, that problem wouldn't exist. I'm just gonna say it. I did also think that, yeah, other than the balloon arc, some of the things, like the without the voice acting, they just make everything seem slower, like less in character. Like, it just kind of detracted from the whole experience in a way. There were also some characters I thought could be more interesting. I did write Auroron on my page, but I feel like that's a bit harsh now that I actually think about it. But I did write Ian-san, but it is a bit harsh on Ian-san as well, considering she doesn't have her Chronicle Tribal Quest, or Tribal Chronicle Quest, or whatever you want to call it. So that's a bit harsh. That hasn't been released when I record this, by the way. So that's a bit harsh on that, but I really thought Ian-san would have a big role to play, and I know the lack of voice acting did not help that character whatsoever, but I really thought that character would have a bigger role to play, considering how we see Ian-san with Mavuika in the beginning, in Act 1 or 2. I can't remember what it is. So I really thought that character would have a bigger role to play, and was a bit disappointed and underwhelmed just by that fact at all. And then the final really thing I want to talk about does relate to the VAs, and it is for the final fight, the basically against the Lord of Erode of Primal Flame, where I'm like, you basically summon these totems that holds the messages they recorded for you on your scroll, and basically a lot of them are not voice acted. It does just take away so much. I know I'm basically hammering down at this point at this, but it does just take away so much from the overall experience that you feel when the voice lines are supposed to be there but they're not. Same thing with Aether, as I play as Aether. I don't know if it's the same if you play Lumine. And he's obviously supposed to have a voice here. Like, you can tell he's supposed to have a voice, but there's just nothing there, and you're like, I really wish this was voice acted. Like, I know these are basically the same point done over multiple arcs, but it does just feel like Natlan could have had. I could have had such a better experience in Natlan if they just had done this. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I could have had such a better experience if they just did this, which is such a shame, honestly, but I didn't write anything down, by the way, about the interlude quest, because I don't really count that. I thought the interlude quest was, like, it was pretty meaningless, but it was fine. Like, it's better to have that quest than absolutely nothing, so I'll take that over nothing. So, yeah, overall. But before I make this video way too long either way, I thought Natlan overall was. I gave it a score of 7.5 out of 10. Basically, the VAs missing would have elevated my experience way more. Probably an 8.5. I don't think I would have given that 9, because I think Fontaine is 9. And by the way, going back to some of the pacing issues, I thought maybe some of the acts could be spread over a better time period. Like, or just add more to the quest, like have more Archon quests to make the story and world building way better. Just build the world in a way better way, to the point where we get to meet all of the uh, heroes, or whatever you call it. Go to the tribe, you can do the Chronicle Tribal Quest, Tribal Chronicle Quest, whatever it's called, and then you have the final showdown with all the battles and everything like that. But again, that's just personal preference, and I actually don't know whether that would elevate the story at all or not. But either way, that's just my thoughts on Natlan, or the Archon Quest of Natlan. I think the overall experience of Natlan itself has been very good, but the Archon Quest I feel like could need some improvement, and I just still just wonder like how much more I would enjoy it if they just had voice acting. Like, I giving it a 7.5, like I said, out of 10, but that's a pretty generous 7.5. Like, realistically, I would have given it a 7, if I'm being 100% honest. A 7, and if everything was voice acted, I'd probably give it an 8. Like, 8.5. Like, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I feel like that they take away from my overall experience a lot, so yeah. Those are just some of my thoughts. I know I didn't cover everything, and I know I skipped through a lot of things, and this wasn't the most well-structured video, but I just wanted to talk about my feelings. A couple of days, I mean, like, at this point, it's been a while after I played the Archon Quest. Basically, just want to get my thoughts out there and see if people actually share this sentiment or not. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like. Comment if I should do more of these about Star Rail, Cellozone Zero, yeah, other Genshin updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.